I do enjoy being able to talk with you while that music is playing and just hiding what we're talking about, because it is the most inane chatter. Although I did used to enjoy talking our way into the Meta Lab. I kind of think I'm going to find a way to bring that back. That's and fair. Just talk at the guys while the music comes on and whatnot. So, we'll see. Maybe even replace the opening music with inane chatter, because that's a fun one. I'm talking away from and towards the microphone, and I really got to get control of that, because if I don't talk at the microphone, people are all like, Jason, I can barely hear you. So,
is it ever actually a problem for people to hear you? You're like the loudest person in the world.
Yeah, I know, and I've also accidentally hid every single window that we have. So give me a second here as I get control of this situation, because we need all these windows open, oddly enough. Things like our Discord or our... Yeah, you see? Nathaniel couldn't hear us while the music was going and I was talking to you. That was on purpose. Oh, okay, let's get that one open. Let's get that one open. I don't know why I have this one open, actually, to be brutally honest. All right, so now I've got my windows open and I talked about it for a couple minutes. We do have a question in the Discord, but let's do our usual thing when nobody is live with us and ramble a bit. What's up with you, Amber?
Ramble. I don't have much up with me. Yeah. We actually, we're looking at we're in the process of starting a new venue in our area, like literally down the street from our house, to get more people interested in the game, have a more closer, so that we don't have to go to another city to go play HeroClix.
We still will,
but like having one closer to home is nice. So we had a kind of come in and learn how to play HeroClix today. So for the first little while, it was just me and Jason and Aiden. And I played a game with our daughter, Superlex, and Jason played with Aiden. And then we did have a dad and his son come in and be like, oh, we heard that somebody was going to have HeroClix going today. I was like, awesome, come, I'll show you how to play the game.
Actually, it was more like, oh, awesome, Amber, run a demo game.
Yeah.
While I was in the middle of the game with Aiden.
So I just kind of showed them like a very basic, we still had those, the Captain America, Iron Man, and Thor that came from the Sidekick Night kits.
Yeah, we had one of those hanging around the house, luckily.
We used a Battle Royale map and just set them up as, like, Cap and Iron Man versus Thor, and just the basics of it. They had played the game at home, but at, like, bare minimum, just trying, like, a lot of the times this is a hard game to just kind of, like, pick up and go. It's a lot easier to have somebody that already knows how to play the game show you how to play the game. So it was just explaining actions and basic powers and like pushing and how to attack, how to move, stuff like that. And then I think we ended up after that talking their ear off for the next like hour about the game.
You talked with them long enough for me to go board game shopping.
Yeah.
That's an adventure in itself.
That was mostly Aiden just talking. Because he'll just do that. Like, we kind of spend the opening of these shows just talking. That's what Aiden will do when he's got someone that will listen to him. I
mean, I love you, Aiden. We love you. You've seen Aiden.
You guys have seen Aiden talk on Move and Attack, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. I forget he's a personality on the show. But yeah, so it was really good, and it sounds like we'll be able to have them come back for the X-Men release sealed that we'll be doing in 2 weeks.
Yep, our venue's going to be running a release sealed.
Yes.
which is exciting.
It's super exciting for a brand new venue to just be like, hey, we're going to bring in product and hopefully we can run a sealed tournament. So, anybody in the area, please come out to this.
We'll be posting on the social media soon.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So yeah, it's been exciting. I have been personally flip-flopping and been non-committal to any team for Memphis. This is becoming a problem, actually. I got a team sitting right over there, and I should play it, but I also shouldn't. I should fix it, but I shouldn't. I should just play it. Though I should get a practice game in with it. This is my nightmare right now, and Amber's been no help lately because she doesn't play competitively anymore, and
I don't play constructed competitive.
she hates practicing with me already.
Going to go play in Team Worlds because it is sealed, and I prefer sealed nowadays.
I can deal.
It's broken.
Amber is, yeah, well, what, you think I'm doing better right now?
No.
Why can't you be broken with me? Oh. So yeah, it's been a bit of a nightmare. And part of it is, and me and Tom talked about it on the Meta Lab, and through the videos this week that you've been watching of us unboxing X-Men, I got a pride issue.
Yes, you do.
I got a massive pride issue. It's got to be mine. I can't play what people are playing. I did it once, and even then I didn't do it the same way everybody was doing it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Everybody's like, why did 75-point Goblin King? I rode that guy right into his retirement.
You did.
Yep.
You even had him on a monster team at one point.
He was a major part of my monster team. People underestimate how good he was as a supporting character and a last-ditch attacker. What else is there to update on the channel? We do have one more piece of content coming from the box, the unboxing. Yeah. But that one's going to take a little bit longer.
It is a game. Jason and Tom played a sealed game with the two boosters that were not used in our team sealed practice. Jason and Tom played those as a game. Fortunately, games to make them as pretty as I would prefer them to be on the channel does take a fair amount of editing work, which I just have not had the time to sit down and do. Which I want to see if I can get as much done before we leave for Memphis on Thursday, but I'm also not going to guarantee that we will have this out before Worlds.
I have my doubts that unless we get a lot of the work done tomorrow on it, mm-hmm. and I say we, that's Amber while I distract the children, it's probably not going to happen until after we get back from Worlds, which is a shame, but we'll try. We'll do our best. I mean, it'll also be a good primer for people going into the release week sealed to see how me and Tom worked our way around it anyway, so there's still quality content to come from that. This brick has been the most valuable brick I've ever had in my life. Not just in the fact that we got 5 super rares in it, but also in the fact that we've been able to use it to our advantage quite a bit. And it's been kind of exciting. And I've been playing the crap out of the figures that we have in there.
I have played 4 or 5 very specific characters, and I have played against 5 very specific characters because what I have played of this set, I have played against our daughter, and she has 5 figures from the set that she likes.
The girls.
And wants to play. So
gotta be the girls.
I know. It's I've gotten to the point where I know Rachel Phoenix Summers Dial a little too well, and Rogue and Mystique and Jean Grey.
So, ladies and gentlemen, Amber will be the A player on Calm Your Clix. If you plan on putting a Rachel Summers in the A slot, you're screwed.
That topped on her 170-point dial. That top dial, Impervious, is 1 click. And then it's invincible right after, but then just drops down to super senses until her stop click. And it's oh, that dropped way too fast.
Alright, with that aside, let's lead into the next thing I want to talk about actually leads into the first question we have in the Discord, which is what's going on with tournament play. Let me tell you, a lot of things are going on with tournament play. What, you got your hand up you want to stop?
No, I'm a little. I feel like the question needs some clarification. What, just in general, in specifics?
Oh no, that's the question he asked. That's the question we're answering, Amber.
Right.
So what is going on with HeroClix tournament play? Well, we have Memphis around the corner, which is the HeroClix World Championships going on in Graceland, the guest house next to Graceland. Hopefully, you got your hotel reservations in already.
Yeah,
I think today is.
Full.
I think today was the deadline to get your Battle Royale and tour thing in.
Yeah, the tour package.
I don't know why I'm looking at this watch like it's going to give me the date or something.
Because they were very adamant about the fact that was going to be a pre-order, pre-book bonus. You cannot get that when you arrive. Yeah,
it's not going to be a last-second thing. We talked to somebody. I had one heck of a slow call, and it only cost me $49 a head, so hopefully we get the right things. And everybody's already paid us for it, so hopefully that all works out. As well, The Rock made a major announcement, and then made another announcement later on, because that's been the week it's been, where at first the complication is that the next leg of states is not going to have this year's prizing like they were planning. It is in fact going to have last year's prizing. Kind of like what we experienced at Canadian Nationals. So, in order to kind of alleviate the pain that is, because originally they were going to make sealed, now you're going to play sealed for last year's prizing. They kind of did a 50-50 sealed constructed. Now I don't know if this is in reaction to the fact that the prizing isn't as exciting, or or the fact that the next set is a little expensive, but guys, if we're going to compete, we're going to compete. This stuff costs money, guys. I've never been one to be like, it costs too much to play in a competitive tournament. Like, go to a Grand Prix in Magic and tell me the same thing. Like, I mean, I say that kind of off-puttingly, but at the same time, I do understand that they have money at the back end of that. But this, when you're playing sealed, we know that the set costs a little more. We understand it's going to be like in Canadian $40 sealed, $30 probably in the States. As far as that's concerned, and we understand that that's pricey, but it also doesn't kind of meld with the fact that the Rock prize kit costs a whole bunch, and where do the stores have to kind of offset that somehow, and they don't offset that well with sealed, to be honest, because they have to provide a product, which means it costs them money. Then they got to get in the prize kit, that costs them money, and then when they're done with that, you got to give them money, and they got to offset this somehow, and it's really hard to offset in that case. So that all said, they went from this half sealed from sealed to half sealed, half constructed, and then I guess from there they kind of went, you know what? Let's just use this new the Pauper format. Now, when I say the Pauper format, some people kind of get it a little twisted. The format that I created, the Everyman format or the Everyman project, that is a strictly common format. The Pauper format in HeroClix also includes uncommon. Yes, I understand if you're familiar with Magic as well, that gets a little confusing. So very strictly, there's also some changes to it, to that format traditionally. Traditionally, the Pauper format was commons and uncommons only, no fast forces or starter kits. The Brock announced the format to change to commons and uncommons, Highlander, which means, for those of you unfamiliar with what Highlander means, you're only allowed one copy of each figure on your team, or I guess element as well. Followed by, so basically all of them have a silver ring, with as well, including starters and fast forces, which I agree with 100%, because where the hell do we get our maps most of the time, right? Without going to a tournament. As far as the Pauper format is concerned, I think it's neat. And I think the X-Men set is going to bust it wide open. If you don't believe me, look at Juggernaut when you see him.
Or Blob.
Yeah. And the Brotherhood themselves, they're very low rarity, high power. Like, the Brotherhood of Mutants went from the chump team in every HeroClix set they've ever been in to whoa in this set, because they've fixed every single mistake of the past.
There's a focus on Mystique and Pyro being super rares, but look at the rest of the Brotherhood.
Yeah, there's a fly going through and
I know,
and driving me nuts.
The camera's catching it too,
and it's focusing on it. Yeah, so characters like the Blob at the uncommon slot, whose defense power is not outwittable.
Yeah, and it's just, he can only ever take one damage at a time.
You got the Juggernaut, who's a super strong character, and there's so much leadership on the lower end. Exodus, Like, Exodus is so powerful, especially if you get one good leadership role. You are going to rip apart an opposing team with that leadership role. Like, one good leadership is all it takes. With 2 or 3 guys next to him, forget it. Good game. Right now we look at it and say it's the Medusa Crystal show at first, and it's like, no.
Look at the X-Men. I mean, even on top of, like, the absolute bombs that are going to show up in Dark Phoenix Saga, you also have to consider that we are still going to see the guys that dominated in Regenesis. And they're not going to be as dominant as they were in Regenesis as a tight-knit, isolated tournament. But, like, still having that Wolverine is still a common at, like, 120 points with, like, 7 or 8 clicks and 2 stop clicks.
Yeah.
And you're not as likely to get his free healing every turn because of needing the Jean Grey School theme team for that. But even then, there's enough crazy commons in that set to actually make it a Jean Grey or a Utopia theme team.
Yeah.
It won't be as strong as just picking and choosing the best figures across both Regenesis and Dark Phoenix Saga, but yeah, it's an incredibly strong format.
I mean, and some of the figures did end up getting those. Like, I think I saw 1 or 2 figures with the Jean Grey School for Higher Learning keyword that weren't necessarily, or am I looking at prize figures? I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's going to be a cool format. Don't get me wrong. And anybody who's given up on the current state of the format needs to look to the future, because that X-Men set is going to be something else on it altogether. And I'm cool with that. That said, am I going to another province or state to play? Not likely. And unless somebody's going and happens to have an extra seat in the car and, it's just a day trip. Like, I'm not going overnight anywhere. If it's a Tom and Jay go to Eternal Games again, cool, yeah. Sure, I'll go that far. And if Whitby, Comic Book Addiction gets it again, or 401 gets it, sure, I'll happily play in it, because not that far out of my way. But I'm definitely not making multiple day trips for this format. So, yeah. What else is up with? So, overall, I mean, I talk about Magic a lot. Let's just throw it out there. It's almost to an annoying point to some players' perspectives. And I get that. And the reason I like Magic a lot is the formats that I happen to play in Magic, oddly enough, are I own a Modern deck, which just got screwed by a ban list. Well, I didn't say it got screwed, but I got to look for 4 new cards for it. I play Commander, which is imagine like a 1,000-point game of HeroClix. That's Commander. Right? And then, what is it? I play Pauper. So I'm cool with these limited resource formats. Pauper and Magic's a little different because there is some power level in Magic the Gathering's version of Pauper, for sure. But, I support this kind of format. I made this kind of format. And I will play in it. But it's hard to justify a long trip for it. And I get where a lot of people are a lot of people who used to travel to multiple state events might go to 1 or 2 instead, as long as they're within a reasonable drive from them. They're not going to go like to 6 or 7 over the course of the entire time. It's not. I mean, I don't think anybody's doing that, to be honest.
No, I think the most hit up was 3 or 4, and that was when it was done over 2 weekends.
Mm-hmm. So if I do 2, I'll probably talk to Tom about it, and if Eternal Games is happening to run their states again, maybe. Tom, if you're listening.
I mean, last time States was in Hamburg, right? We went to WYN Gaming for New York States.
Well, we did go to New York States. That's correct. I might do that again if it's just a quick day trip.
Yeah. Because that was not a very long drive for. I think it was like an hour and a half for us to drive out and then drive back from getting into New York State. So. Mm-hmm.
And Dave also mentions in the Discord that he wants to use his bells and whistles. Well, let me tell you, sometimes using the bells and whistles is actually the thing. It's giving you too much. and you don't you kind of miss, like, you want to use. I understand everybody wants to use their bells and whistles. That's fine. States is one set of tournaments. You can use it whenever you feel like, right? And the desire to use the bells and whistles, I understand, is great. But from a new player's perspective as well, you should probably kind of look at it and go, maybe if I step into another format and use another type of thinking, I find something else, right? This is one of those things that I idealized about the Magic the Gathering Pauper format. I went in there with the Commander play that I've been using, or looking at Modern and looking at Vintage, and being like, how do people run in this format based on like a comparison of what I used to play? Because when there was a tournament, this story goes back to where I kind of got the idea for the Everman format before I realized Pauper was as big as it was in Magic. I played in a tournament which was commons only allowed, but it was at the time what we call Type 2, which was their version of Standard. Long story short, I played a Gruul deck, decided to do the same thing in the Modern version of the game, and I was blown away by what I'd seen. I had to change my perspective and change my thought process. I don't think we as players do that enough, because we get so stuck on 300-point Modern, because for competitive play, that's all WizKids has provided us with. We don't have a legacy format. Our stuff ages and then goes away. So, like, it's one of those situations where we as players get too stuck on one format, and we get so used to it because that's what's been provided, that the Rock has kind of offered this second hand, and so a lot of people are slapping away like, well, this is another way to think, and it doesn't here's the beauty of this one. Unlike a legacy version format where old figures which are out of print might go up in price if it was such a thing, we don't have to spend a lot of money to get our figures. Like, you're literally, if you're spending more than like $6 on your team as an entirety, it's because you are missing some uncommons that skyrocketed in price because they're colossals. I mean, I think the Giant Girls go for $5. You can stop me anytime. It's like, no, I can't stop you. Are you kidding?
I have nothing to add to this.
And yeah, so long story short, I feel it's good to give HeroClix something else to kind of focus on. I wish we could bring back that limited format, the one that had like no certain elements on the side, but it's so hard to manage now because you have to specify, okay, well then, no, he can't bring Mjolnir that way. Oh, but can I use the figure? Yes, but why am I paying for it without the Mjolnir? That figure kind of... I'm using one example of Thor bringing in Mjolnir, and it's like, no, you can't use Mjolnir, you can't use Thor. That would be kind of the ruling on that. I think would be the new modern version of the quote-unquote limited format. But I think this just giving us something else to do with our time. And, at the same time, the common and uncommons, you limit the field. You kind of look at it and you go, okay, there's 2 rarities I have to look at. I don't have to worry about certain numbers of figures. And you start to worry about new things, like, where's all the prob? Where's all the outwit? Where's all the perplex? Where's all the powers? Where's all the stuff? And you got to find new sources of this stuff. And if you want to revisit other strategies, you have to find a new way to do it. Bystander's almost undoable, with the exception of like 1 or 2 characters, I think, that bring out bystanders in common and uncommon slot. You got to throw away primes too. You can't look at the prime figures. So,
Scanner's gonna be good.
Scanner's gonna be sought after. It's a shame she doesn't have Brotherhood. You know who else is gonna be great? I think Amelia Vote's a common. Or uncommon? Oh, I forgot. Oh, I'm terrible. I totally lost my thing. But like characters like Amelia Vote are going to be potent, and she's going to be an enabler for the Brotherhood. It doesn't even just have to function on a Brotherhood team. That's one of the beauties of her. Who else, like, just in commons and uncommons, when you think about it, what types of powers... And, fast forces. Fast forces are going to gain in value because sometimes there's going to be a character with prob, and it's like, oh, hey, States is using this format. We need to kind of address this and use it. Sentinel Teams will be usable in this format. Now, yep. I passed by the Friends of Humanity like, oh yeah, there's Sentinel keyword. There's a lot of uncommon Sentinels that are really strong in this format. Like, you can bring a lot of off-board Sentinels and Friends of Humanity if you build that team right. Oh man,
the Danger Room guys are gonna be
the Danger Room guys. Yeah, the common. There's an uncommon one.
Yeah, there's Magneto and
Sabretooth. Yeah. Well, one damage at a time, dudes. Like, okay. And I mean, granted, they're both 40 and 45 points, respectively. But they take one damage at a time. And if they start collecting attacks... I've totally blown over Amelia Vogt if she's in common or uncommon. There she is. She's on uncommon.
She's uncommon.
So there's your carrying source to enable a Brotherhood of Mutants team that now has Perplex as well. Theme teams are going to gain in value because Prob is low on value, like low in figure. If you use, we're gonna do this thing. I'm gonna do this. I like doing this all the time, where let's do a little bit of number crunching, as it were. That's the wrong thing. I'm looking for this. All right. And I believe it is the HC Realm scene. There we go, perfect. It's even on webcam mode. Let's go full screen so you guys don't have to stare at my icons. So, we advance search, and we go Modern Age only. And because this is the other thing, is the pop format is Modern Age only. And I don't even care about keyword. We're looking for damage power. And the power is probability control. What do we got? Okay, so we have...
That's fast forces. That is going to be allowed, right?
Yeah, fast forces are going to be allowed. So we got Jean-Luc Picard and Beverly Crusher. Now, here's the other thing. That didn't parse for first click. Okay, so Picard at 75 and at 50. You know, Beverly Crusher doesn't get it till late dial. Counselor Troy starts it. She's going to go up in value, especially with an 18 defense with the limited amount of prob they have. She's only Starfleet, though. So that means Starfleet teams? Unless you go off theme. Thomas Riker, I mean...
He gets it later, but...
Oh, you know what got screwed up? Modern rarity is common. Because that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I wanted to do that. I'm not looking for... Why do I keep doing that? I keep looking for keyword, because monster is like a thing I keep constantly looking for. Damage power is probability control. Just a quick reminder for those in the chat while I'm doing this nonsense. If you do have any questions, we're only answering if it's a super chat or if you are a patron. So we go even further down because this is not going to include the fast forces that we saw there. But we have like Counselor Troy and Chekhov, and these guys. I don't know why these guys get included in Modern. Oh, Zombie Abraham Lincoln if you pay 150 points for him. That's it. That's what I'm doing. Zombie Horde team right here. You got the 100-point Captain Marvel from the Gravity Feed set. Karnak gets it late in his dial. Like there's not a lot going on in the common slot for it, and not a lot of it is front loaded. Like the signals are prime. That doesn't even count. Catman gets it late dial. The 30-point Joker right there. That's the guy who's gonna increase in value. It's just a shame it's Highlander format, so you can't. Okay, so now we're gonna check in the uncommon, and we're gonna look for prob. Probability control. All right, and our numbers are. I mean, we got Thomas Riker. We have Ezekiel Sims. Ezekiel Sims might start to see play in this format. We have this She-Hulk, who's not going to see play in this format. Kronos! Ladies and gentlemen, how many times a week do I get asked, is Kronos possible in any format? Well, guess what? We found it. Kronos. Because if you play him at his rookie, he's 60 points with 9 range with prob plus prob if you miss by 1 that you always have. Sure, but we've only found like a handful of characters if you look at this, and very few of them are front loaded with prob. Like we have 100 points for the Flash. We have that Riddler.
That Riddler's gonna be fun.
That Riddler. That Riddler right there is probably why they went with the format they went with. Harvey Dent's front loaded, but he's only got it for 1 click, and we got a Batman that's got it late in his dial.
Then we have Scanner from Dark Phoenix, and I think she's the only one that has front loaded prob.
Yes, on dial front loaded prob. So theme teams are going to be minty in this format.
Yeah.
I love how we've just suddenly turned into a strategy discussion for this.
Just what we're doing now.
Maybe that's what I should turn Everyman for everyone into, is just like the new Pauper format and just accept the fact that I lost.
You tried something. Someone else was able to actually do events.
I was out of the gates first.
I know, and I like your format better. But
whatever. You know what? That joking aside, it's going to take a lot to
of thinking to kind of work your way around it, and it's going to be a lot of adapting, and it's going to be a lot of named theme teams, because that's another thing. If you look at the common and uncommon slots, they're full of figures of theme teams that sometimes you wouldn't even think of as a possibility. Let's go back to Ezekiel Sims, Spider-Man family, maybe, who knows, right? Revisit sets that we feel have been power creeped out might actually have some possibilities.
There's a lot of really great stuff in the commons of...
The one thing that makes me upset, one thing that I'm upset about.
Uncommons in...
Belphegor is a rare.
Yeah.
I totally would have made a Belphegor-based team if he was...
There's no uncommons in the Undead set. It's
commons and rares.
Common, rare, and then chases.
Yeah. But... Zombie Abraham Lincoln, I'm looking at you, brah.
Unfortunately, with the Highlander rule, you can't really back them up with a zombie swarm, but...
Yeah, you can get one zombie. That's about it. So it would have to be a monster-focused team. Or a politician theme.
I love that he is the politician keyword.
Amber, he is Abraham
I know,
Lincoln.
it is Abraham Lincoln. Like, it makes sense, but it's still hilarious.
Revisiting some sets, Harley Quinn and the Gotham Girls has the Secret Six subs theme.
Oh yeah, I think actually only one or two of them are rare. Like, I think only Bernadette and...
Giganta, I think.
Yeah. I don't even think Bernadette is part of the Secret Six now.
I know what's her name is part of both. Character's name... Not Mad Harriet. Not Scandal Savage, but Scandal Savage is part of the Secret Six. What was her name? I think she's actually only a common. There was a character who was part of both. It was really weird because they had those two themes. It was like the Suicide Squad and the Secret Six, and one character was both. And
oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. No,
so you do know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
so I'm not crazy. No, she's Suicide Squad.
She's just Suicide Squad.
I think she was also Apocalypse. Like, and it's not Mad Harriet. I think she actually might be a rare now that I think about it, and it might not Bernadette. So even better is it's not a character who's
Anywho.
I'm working on Knockout. Only 6 of us, Suicides,
Yeah.
and Will of Apocalypse. She has all 3 of the traits from the set. Yeah. But like you can get, what is it? Catman, Knockout. That's 2 of the Secret Six. Well, let's just do it this way. So Catman, Knockout, Scandal. That's a shame. We're close.
Yeah, because then a bunch of them, because like King Shark and Giganta are super rare, and then
Harley Quinn
Jeanette,
and Jeanette.
When I said Bernadette, I meant Jeanette.
Yeah.
And then the Harley Quinn.
Oh well, we got half of a Secret 16, but that also works in conjunction with the other 6 of us thing, which was... What are you tapping on?
There was a fly.
Oh. What was it? It doesn't matter. Point is, there's stuff. There's stuff to do in this that you kind of revisit and look at. My big question will be on the release of the WWE stuff. What are they going to be considered?
Yeah,
I think they're
tabbed for Chase.
I think they're tabbed for Chase, but that's kind of, I don't know. Is that their rarity? Their rarity is static. Are
they in stock?
I got Steve Austin on the shelf. I got AJ Styles on the shelf. I got, Actually, that was one of the funnier things now that I think about it with WWE around the corner. The guy that runs the shop was really excited about the idea of what's the Kane and the Undertaker, the Brothers of Destruction team he wants to run for HeroClix. I was like, I love this guy. He used to play HeroClix apparently back in the day and had like a Hydra team who would always get his butt kicked. But sorry about that. I'm swatting at a fly. And Nathaniel put a Klingon team in the chat.
Oh gosh, yes.
I like it. Klingon. There we go. Klingon is a pretty interesting keyword that could probably see some good solid light. Let's see what Klingon's got. I mean, in the low rarities, you got Worf, you got a Klingon crewman, Klingon warriors. You got the starter set, Lieutenant Worf, Bator, Gowron, Klingon Beck, Klingon lieutenant, Korax, Klingon captains, There's a lot that you can do with that. It's just a shame you can't. I hate Highlander rules so much sometimes.
Like, I understand them because of things like the 4 Medusa team.
They want to stop the Medusa team, which is a team that is viable in constructed.
But I've
get it.
never personally been a fan of Highlander. I do not like it as a rule. I am happy that it's not an official hero or WizKids ruling, like that. It's more or less just a stipulation that venues or players will put on themselves.
Yeah.
But I can't stand Highlander.
I mean, we have Highlander built into the game. If we wanted there to only be one of a character, they'd silverline it. They have it built into the rules for themselves.
It was actually interesting while I was teaching one of the kids to play today. He asked if he could put more than one character of the same character on the team. I was like, yes. Do it. There's nothing in the rules that stops you other than here's a unique character, here's a prime. That's how those function. There's also a thing called title characters. Other than that, have fun.
Yeah, go nuts with it. Enjoy yourself. And, I mean, comics are weird. That's a given. And, how many times has Wolverine run into himself? Or the Scarlet Witch run across a million different probable versions of herself? Or, the Captain Britain Corps is a thing. And when you have the idea... Comics have adapted the parallel universe theory. Therefore, in a million different universes, or billions of infinite universes... 2 Wolverines are exactly the same. Right? In fact, the only thing that difference is they had breakfast differently in the morning.
There's actually an issue of Exiles where they were trying to solve some sort of problem and not only brought a Hyperion from every universe to beat an evil hero Hyperion, but there was also one issue where they ended up having, like, a world of infinite Wolverines, and one of them was a clown. It's actually kind of funny. There was like a spread of like a full page spread art of like just 1,000 different Wolverines, and it's just I love that. Like that's I don't know. I'm all about parallel worlds and weird else worlds and what if stories, and the whole idea for me of Hero Clix is crazy. What if these people were fighting each other or these people were working with each other, and making it Highlander I feel kind of works against that. But a lot of this, because we are talking about high-end competitive and stuff like that, it's more focused on it being a game than it being a theme.
The official format is now proper modern age with a Highlander. I don't know if that means you can't use 2 different Spider-Men. They didn't specify that, so they should really get on that.
Well, it says they're considered unique, so if we take
is that what they're saying?
It says all characters and elements during first are considered unique.
Okay, so if they're considered unique, then yeah, you can use 2 different Spider-Men.
Yeah. They just can't be the same.
Yeah, they can't be the same character numbers. You can't use 001 Spider-Man, 001 Spider-Man from the same set. There's a 001 Spider-Man in Spider-Man, and then the figure number 001 in another set is also Spider-Man. As long as they're different characters, they're different specific Spider-Man, you should be fine, based on the fact that they're considered unique. What else? But figures and elements that can be produced in multiples after forced construction are allowed. Multiple men, you have a chance. No, you don't. You're super rare, isn't he? You're a rare.
I think he's higher end. Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't like the multiple men. I'm gonna say it. I like multiple man. I don't like that one.
I didn't actually look at him. I just knew we had him. I just love the sculpt. I love the Madrox.
It's a pile of Madrox that makes Madrox bystander tokens, but there's limits on it.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I don't like limits.
I still think the best Madrox we ever got was the Wolverine and the X-Men one.
Oh, that was peak Madrox.
That created extra Madrox based on how much damage he was dealt. And it was amazing.
Yeah, if you don't, because I think you can at most take 5 damage with that guy before he dies.
Yeah.
But then you take that 5 damage and then you make 5 more Madrox. And I think they had like Flurry or something in certain Clix and Empower. And if you got a bunch of them next to each other, it was ridiculous. This one, like, yeah, you can get a bunch of dupes together and you can get like 3 damage. And you can get 5 on the board at some point. But I could heal that other one eventually too, back up to top, with some form of like support or the X-Men team ability or consuming other Madrox, and be back to full and do it again. I feel like they limited it too much.
Yeah.
And the limitations based on how many points you have. Like when? Since when? That's my flavor fail in that one, you know. But I'm never going to be happy with a Madrox.
Unless you make one yourself.
No, I'm going to keep saying that because I kept saying that for a long time for the Hulk. And
you know what happened? And I said that forever for Wolverine. And then look at the last, 3 Wolverines we've got.
And the last, 4 or 5 Hulks have been like, whoa. Okay, they know how to make the Hulk now. Okay, I take it back. I take it back. Because there was a long time where it was like, oh, great. Hulk, he's going to have charge and invulnerable. He's going to get shot out of the sky. Great. Okay. Yeah. That's always been my thing. Nowadays, I mean, okay, yeah, he still gets shot from a distance, but, you know, sometimes you get punished. Like, I shoot him. Okay, he's there. What? I've also been giving him leap climb with the ability to make attacks. I think the Fast Force Hulk was really close to one of many peak Hulks.
I think the funny thing with,
he's just been busted by other people.
The Wolverines now is that, they're high competitive Wolverine and, they're doing really well and stuff like that. It's they're not technically, comic accurate or flavorful because Wolverine shouldn't actually have a stop click, but it still works. If you're trying to adapt game mechanics for what he does, where he just doesn't stop and he just goes until someone kills him, then yeah, that kind of makes sense that if you're gonna turn that into a game mechanic, a stop click makes sense. But it's still really weird to see him with a stop click.
Yeah. You know, I mean, but I get it because I'm hitting him. Ow! What was that? He's got a metal skeleton that hurt.
Yeah, it's we got down to the metal.
It's not that he stops getting hurt. You stop hurting him because it hurt you to hurt him. It's think, ow!
He's oh, you ran out of ammo. Damn.
Yeah. So. What else we got? What else? What else is up in the world? Because we talked about a bunch of format changes and whatnot.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. What's going on?
So much right now is that, Worlds is next weekend.
Yep,
and,
we're going to, in a week from, less than a week now, it's 4 days from now, we'll be walking in Memphis. I apologize that I left Steam open, guys. My bad. You now know that one of my Steam friends is currently playing a game. I'll just take care of that now. Oh, I do not have any plugins for OBS that I want to use. Thank you. You know, also realized I didn't share this video, did I? I'm bad. I'm a bad person. Amber, go.
I had nothing. I already said I had nothing.
What do you mean you can't just say you have nothing and then all of a sudden have nothing? What's going on in your life?
What?
What's going on with you, Amber? How are you doing?
Losing my damn mind. That's what I'm doing.
Why did that have to ask permission to exit Steam?
That's a good question.
I don't understand that. I didn't share this episode on Facebook.
Maybe it thought we were streaming Steam?
I don't know.
Everything is strange. Everything is weird. Yep. I'm I'm over-exercised this week.
Well, yeah, because according to your Pokemon Go, you've walked 84 kilometers this week. Yes. Most of that from work.
Yeah, I ended up sharing for anybody that doesn't play Pokemon Go, they have a step counter tracker, and it tracks how many kilometers that you've walked, and it'll actually track when you're not playing the game. Mm-hmm. As long as you have it set up for that, which I do. And I use my phone as a pedometer, and I keep my phone on me while I work. And I work a very physical job right now, and by the end of the day, I have typically walked about 30,000 steps. So by the end of the week, which included 5 days of work, walking home from work, picking up the kids from summer camp, walking back home, and then Friday we went out grocery shopping. By the end of Friday, I had done 71 kilometers, I think it was. And then adding in just our regular moving around on the weekend, I think I'm now up to like 85. Like, I'm very, very tired. I'm just physically exhausted from life in general right now. And also, we have our kids going back to school next week, so we were preparing for that. Relatively painless back to school shopping this year. Everybody was very straightforward in what they wanted and what they were picking out. And I think the hardest thing was maybe getting everybody to pick out a outfit for the first day of school, because one of our sons is very fashion forward and very particular about what he likes and what he wants to wear, so he can be very picky when he's picking out clothes. Other than that, I think that all just kind of went very well, I suppose, was what you can say there. I'm very much looking forward to going to Worlds. I ended up having to work tomorrow. Now, we do have the long weekend in Canada as well.
So she's making mega bucks tomorrow.
I am working overtime, technically overtime tomorrow. I'm working the stat holiday tomorrow. But I also said that I would come in tomorrow instead of working Saturday, which after the week I had was definitely not something I wanted to do. I wanted to have my 2 days off before I had to go back to work. But also I didn't want my work week to be like 2 days, because that's it. It's Tuesday and Wednesday, and then Thursday we fly out for Memphis. So
I still don't have my team finalized.
I have a team. I'm not planning on playing it because it's one of those. So I'm going in playing Team Worlds. That is my goal for going to Memphis. I'm playing in Team Worlds, gonna play Battle Royales, gonna play the special Battle Royale. Might, fingers crossed, I can get a raffle ticket to play Kenny's WizKids like skirmish thing that they're running. That special event. What? Why are you making a face?
We'll talk later.
Anyways, because that seems like a pretty cool alternative to Battle Royales. So, like, even if I don't get the chance to play in that, I kind of want to just sit down and watch that happen, because that seems like a fun, different alternative thing to play in. And then, if I do well enough in Team Worlds, I think you need top 16 gets buys into the World Championship. So I'm not pre-qualified. I am not grinding. I have no intention of doing that. But if I do well enough, I do have a team, which is kind of just a funny throwaway team that I'm bringing. I am playing 2 Wolverines and a Rachel Summers from Regenesis, and I will have a Jean Grey School theme team and mess with everybody that wants to go to their zero click with their Elders of the Universe there. It's like, no, you don't get it. I don't have any equipment. I don't have ID cards. I have no extra elements. You stay on click 1. But yeah, so it's just going to be a kind of fun. It's like, I don't even care if I get that far and then go like whatever 0-5 for the World Championship. I'm just going to have fun. So that will be my thing.
Yeah. It's funny because you have like the team of ringers.
Yeah. I say, like, you know, if I do well enough at Team Worlds. So my team for the past 2 years has been me and Emily and our friend Asia. And it's been an all-girl team, which is the only team that has gone to Team Worlds that is all girls. And unfortunately this year, Asia cannot get down to Memphis this year for it. So, we had to fill in the spot. And it also turned out that Devin, aka the only Canadian to win a Canadian Nationals,
also 1/3 of last year's HeroClix Team World Champions,
didn't have a team. So me and Emily have adopted him, and he's gonna be on our team. So
Amber's got
do
Emily
well.
and Devin and Amber on her team. The only thing me, Tom, and Mike have going over that is we know how to make fun of each other for the way we build in Team Worlds. Because Mike, I don't know if you caught it. Mike commented on the on Facebook link to our video about that. Because for those of you who watched our Team Seal thing, that is very much realistically the way things go. Where Mike and Tom are building these awesome teams. I'm like, so you're not using that? All right, let me just kind of.
Oh my. But yeah, so, and I'm not going to 100% go in and say, like, well, I've got Devin, so I'm going to win, but...
But she has to come ready now.
But I do have to bring a team with me just in case.
Would you have brought a team with you if Asia was playing?
Yes.
All right.
Because, to be fair, the last 2 times that we've done Team Worlds, we have been in the top 32. So, like, we have made it pretty high up, especially when you're considering that these are, like, usually we have, 75 to 80 teams, and we've been making the top 32 each year. So, like, our goal has been to just keep going forward. Now, the first year, top 32 were actually where the cut was made. So we were actually the 32nd team. We had to play against Team Lucky Dice, who ended up winning the whole thing. So we got knocked out by the winners. Who cares? And then last year, they only cut to the top 16, but we were in 31st place for last year. So we still got our prizing for top 32, but we weren't allowed to go into the single elimination process of it because they needed to bring down the amount of rounds that there were going to be.
It was funny because last year, I was super stressed out about Team Worlds because I didn't want to grind after Team Worlds to get my seat in Worlds. And after all of that humming and hawing and worrying and whatnot and just getting sweaty, me and Tom and Steve came out of like the Swiss and the first place team. And I was like, oh, okay, so we did okay, guys. And as much as I make like jokes where it's like, oh, I was the best performing on that team, and everybody thought my team was junk, we did a fantastic job, and I love those guys for getting us that far and allowing me to have a sigh of relief, especially in the one game I lost in the first game of the top 16, where Tom and Steve had won. And I went, and I looked up and they're like, oh, thank God, because this is a Thanos. Oh boy. So yeah, Tom's qualification is resting on us, me and Mike. And Mike got second place in Canadian Nationals, and I squeaked in the second last seat that they gave to a world.
Yeah,
seat.
top 15 managed to get seats for Worlds only because there were 2 spots that were already pre-qualified from U.S. Nationals.
Yeah.
So it went down 2 spots to 14 and 15.
Yeah, it would have been. There's 26 players in the event.
Yeah.
13 were going to get it, and because 2 of the players in the top 13 were qualified courtesy of U.S. Nationals, went down to me and Emily.
Yeah.
Like I was second to last, and Emily was the last. It was like yes. And you know, Emily kind of. If Emily didn't get it over me, I would have felt really bad because she Canadian goosed the crap out of my team.
There was also one of those things where it's like the only kind of like my silver lining of coming out of Canadian Nationals was that like the 4 people that I lost to in Canadian Nationals. So first round I lost to Mike, and he came in second. Second round I lost to Ed, and he was on the top 8. And then third round I won. And then fourth round I lost to Emily, who qualified for Worlds. And then the last round I lost to Jason, who qualified for Worlds. So I was like, I'm just the player that's there to make everybody else
kinda,
better.
You know, I gotta kind of, excuse me, I'm gonna go qualify for Worlds.
And of course, like...
Oh, wait, hold on, just gotta,
And of course, 3 out of those 4 players are my own teammates. I'm like, all right.
So
okay,
glad
guys.
you traveled all the way to Ottawa to play against 3 players you played against 1,000 times.
Yep. I mean, to be
Squeaky
fair,
voice.
my one win was also against a local player. But when half of the field of players is like local guys and then guys from the States, so it's like I had a really good chance of playing up against all of the local guys that I normally play up against.
Yeah. I think I should. It's been a couple minutes, and I should check the discount or Discord. Mike says hello, by the way.
Yes, because I will be leaving in about 5 minutes.
Yep. There's been a lot of demand that you dress Devin up in drag.
Oh no! Really?
Oh yeah, quite frequently. Every so often it comes up. It's like, so you guys are gonna dress Devin up, right?
Oh, poor Devin.
I mean, let's be honest. Let me grab one of my just a shirt. I'll bring a shirt and we'll throw it on him. It'll look like a dress, right? I know Devin's a good sport and he would do it, and then he would win doing it, and we'd all have to be like, well, not only did we get beat by Devin again, but we got beat by Devin wearing drag.
So Nathaniel does ask about the skirmish format. If you want to.
Does he?
Yes. Right, you messed past it. You just went past it.
What are you talking about?
Go down. Right there. What about the new format they're testing at Worlds?
Oh, the one by invite.
That's the skirmish format.
There's two. How does it work anyway? They'll select 14 players randomly from a ticket gathered throughout the weekend to play in the special event for new format. There's also 2 invited players who will compete. So you're gonna have to get lucky and get that ticket, girl.
Well, that's what I was seeing. I was hoping that, and if I don't get one of the tickets, I'll just sit and watch.
Yeah. But the skirmish format, we've tried one game with it. It's very hilarious when 2 characters with close combat or combat reflexes start immediately next to each other.
Yeah.
It makes for a long game.
And there's no outwit in sight.
Yeah. It seems very fun. It's definitely a lot of... the starting randomness is enough to be like, okay, well, this is wacky. And one observation was that, we as players are used to taking a full turn.
Mm-hmm.
You're not allowed a full turn. You're allowed a single action, costed action, and a single free action, which we've actually now established is not necessarily the same character.
Yeah.
But then you have to go a full round before, I don't know. And the scoring on Clix of Life, for 2 players, the game was over when one of us got to 20 points.
Yeah.
Because it's first to 20. But I think in a 4-player game, it's going to happen more frequently. Or somebody's going to be dead. Excuse me.
So it plays very similar to, playing a board game. Where it's here's your turn. This is what you can do on your turn. And then it's the next person. And once everybody's done their action, it goes to the next round.
We also haven't really tried challenging the format.
Yeah, we've kind of just played it as is.
We grabbed the stack of 50-point characters, just regular characters, and played it on there. We hadn't pushed it with, colossals.
Oh, I don't even know. Yeah, that would be weird. We haven't done any extra. We did just figures. We didn't do any extra elements.
We also didn't push that 150-point barrier.
Yeah.
3 character minimum with 200 points. It's managed. It's doable. So we haven't pushed that to see how much of it's an issue. It's not drag, it's cosplay. But my favorite thing was just the starting areas.
Yeah, so basically what I would set up, it's done on a Battle Royale map, which is 16 by 16. You could use to play at home. If you don't have a Battle Royale map, you can use the X-Men Regenesis map, because they have those dotted lines to try and make that square. So there is like a square of 2 squares around, and then there's like an X in the middle of 2 squares, so it's 4 5x5 squares that you can start in. And the setup is that you take 2 d10s, and that'll get you to roll, like, you roll one, okay, say that 7 over here. The roll the second one 3, go down 3. You're gonna start.
Well, no, you roll like a D100. Remember, this is the thing I had a hard time trying to explain to you.
No, it says you could do it either way. It was 2 d10s.
Yeah, but we used the D100 because we had the map.
Yes. We did, but not everybody just has a D100 line. Not that everybody has 2
You use a
D10s.
D10 like a D100. This is what you didn't understand when I was explaining to you. One was the 10s and one was the 1s. And if the 0 showed up for the 10s, that meant that it was a 1 through 10, right? And then if, 00 showed up, that was 100. And that's how we got through this with the mapping and whatnot. Now, we used a HeroClix Battle Royale map and everything like that, not the specific one they had. But that's how that, and you see, this is you didn't understand. I tried to explain the D100 to you. But yes, you can also use the some other format of nonsense that took too long.
Some other format.
Look, the map was there, and we did it, and I said, here, let's play now.
I understand the easiness of what we did with the D100, but it also says right in the freaking rules that you can use 2 D10s. Don't tell me that I'm wrong.
2 D10s is a D100, Amber! You role-playing part-timer. Look, nobody owns a D100 except one extreme nerd out there who's in our chat right now going, oh, I got a D100. That guy can have his D100. Do you know how big a D100 is? It's a baseball. It's impractical. That's why people use 2 D10s as a D100. That's also why people use a D6 as a D3. What 3-sided object are you going to get out of the 3-dimensional shape, right? You use a D6 and you go 1 and 2 is 1, 3 and 4 is 2, and 5 and 6 is 3. Or you find the one rare D6 out in the world that has 2 1s, 2 2s, and 2 3s on it. It's okay, you're a part-time role player. You alright? You gonna make it?
I'm gonna go to bed.
It is your bedtime.
Fun format. Look it up. Give it a try at home because it's easy enough to do on your own.
And throw 2 different colored D10s at Amber when you see her.
I'll take all your D10s. Tell this guy that a D100 is impractical. Good night.
A D100 is this big.
I know, that's why I said to use the...
But the 2 D10s is a D100. That's why nobody owns this.
I don't even know why we're having this discussion. So lost.
All right, so I got to try to do my entertaining as a. It's called a coin, Nathaniel. A D2 is a coin. Here, heads is 1, tails is 2. I don't know where that went. Let's try this time. That's a 2. There you go. Done. Or odds are 1s and evens are 2s. Oh, goodness me. Amber, I need you to entertain people. I actually have to go to bed. Amber's taking her D100 and going home. A D1, you got a 1. It is in fact a piece of paper which says you got a 1. Yeah, I'm gonna find a picture of a D100, an actual picture, because let's see if I can find that images. Oh my god, yeah, look at these things. These things are disturbing.
You were the worst.
No, when you say this thing, some people haven't seen it before, and this is what a D100 looks like.
So show them.
Yeah, I'm working on it, okay? And I said, this exists, just not a lot of people think it's practical. We don't own one of these.
No. Why are we...
Because we... Get out! Go to bed! Oh, goodness. So yes, nobody is using one of these as a D100. I'm probably going to bring a couple D10s just in case people do need them. Traditionally, people who do a lot of role playing or use them in Magic the Gathering will have them. Though the Magic the Gathering ones, the most useful and reliable are the ones that are in order of number. So people get weird about the way those roll. Anyway, I'm seriously just we literally just had an argument on air about a D100. This is our life right now. Patrons, feel free to use the Discord, throw questions. If you guys are in the chat live, super chats, you have my undivided attention for questions. But yeah, no, feel free to use the chat and chit chat all you want. I just won't be paying attention to your questions for the chat. So we'll babble a little about my inconsistency or my inability to decide on a team right now. I was playing with actually another patron. Wanted to get a game in with Roll20. Yes, I know how to use Roll20 now, guys. Ha ha ha. I don't know how to run a Roll20 thing, but I can join your game and play the game. So there's that. I got that going for me. With that said, I tried a team, and there is one thing I have to adapt to in the current metagame that I really haven't done a good job of. So, bad Jason. I haven't adapted to the fact that it's hard to be proactive in this meta. When I say proactive, I mean leading the action. It's very difficult to be proactive because a lot of it is being reactive towards proactivity. And there's a lot of passivity to it and kind of waiting for forward motion to kind of come to you. It's really hard to be the first one to throw a shot without just giving up points. Cyclopses get throwing out there, and if you can get the kills off with them, that's generally how you're doing things. And that's another thing. It's like for every variance of team, a lot of teams play the first couple attacks, the first couple engagements very similar, where Cyclopses will come out or other Collins will come out, and you have to play ready for that. And then once they do that, you have to play either retaliate with retaliators, or you kind of watch them disappear with the Cyclops and hope that they didn't hit. So that said, we kind of, I personally as a player have had to dial it down or come up with a team that does allow proactive play, because for everything that is reactive, there has to be a point where reactivity gets overwhelmed by overwhelming proactivity, which is part of why I've always played, or I've spent a lot of time playing bystander teams, where your proactivity is overwhelming. There's so much activity that you're making. The reactivity is on too many fronts, and if they can't deal with them all at once, that I'm going to get something through, and that something through is enough in a lot of cases. There's a future team right now that I'm looking at that plays a little bit on both ends of the proactive-reactive stream, which I'm a big fan of, but right now it's super reactive, which as a player in the style that I play, it is sweat-inducing for me to have to kind of not be doing much, because doing stuff actually really hurts. between doing stuff and moving forward and getting hit by an ID card to doing stuff and making an attack and getting hit by a retaliator. If I play to and with what's in the current metagame, I kind of find myself, dying. I flat out die. So I can't be proactive with the teams that are reactive. That said, I'm having a hard time finding a proactive team that is super reliable or super, convenient, to say the least. I've been looking at revisiting the Scientist team. I've been looking at revisiting Monsters, both of which kind of play on the play proactively. But I don't want to be forced to play reactively. I want to be proactive in the game of HeroClix. I want to be attacking. I want to be doing things. I want to be able to stem the reaction. And that's really the hard part that I'm running into is how do I be proactive while also not dying to the reactive? Because the reaction, especially nowadays, this has turned into an episode of Into the Mind of Madness while we wait for the Alpha Patron to show up. Is that if I go forward and attack, it doesn't matter. Your dude, if I don't get the kill, I get retaliated on and lose something. And it's not that it's bad. It's that I'm adapting to it still. And I think that's been what's been my big downfall. Is that the teams that are playable in this format are not teams I want to play as well. And it's a tough cookie to have to munch on. It's a very tasteless, dry cookie for myself. Coming to terms with that has been the big trick in trying to decide on a team. And while the Monsters is a great team for what it has been and how long I've been riding the coattails of that, Tyler Spees has been playing it better than me, don't get me wrong. I've just been kind of on that saddle for a while where it's every time I come up, or I think I'm going to play a team or play to the meta, I get there and it's like, screw it, I'm going to play Monsters. This has been my go-back, to say the least. It's kind of been my pocket team. And now I'm just between, whether I want to play Scientist or Monster. And, it's hard coming from, play whatever the heck you want to playing that is going to lose. There's a number of parts to it that the adaptation I've had a hard time with, so I'm working on it. I need more practice, to say the least. I've had enough practice games now to know that I am very frustrated in this playstyle and the way that the game is playing right now. And I've always kind of been okay with Colossal Retaliators, and I still am okay with Colossal Retaliators because I used the crap out of them. And it's just I've always been bad about playing around them because I've always played the out-retaliate kind of game where it's like, okay, so you're going to Colossal Retaliate me. That's awesome. I'm going to Colossal Retaliate your Colossal Retaliator, and then I'm going to attack your Colossal Retaliator with my guy as well. I've kind of always been able to play around it. It's been a big strength of mine. So, yeah. So, it's kind of it's been the thing that's stymieing me. And what will end up happening is I'm going to spend probably a good part of tomorrow, because tomorrow my kids for the most part are going to get a little bit of time on their on the portable devices, tablets and whatnot, because we kind of limit that. But tomorrow's a holiday and we're going to give them some time in the morning for that. I'm going to use that time while I got a little bit of quiet time to myself to find the most proactive way that I can play this game, and just get in it, because the only proactive team I can think of that is well known is definitely the Vulture team, but it's proactive in a way I think is filthy. It's that situation where it's like Emily has said, sorry not sorry multiple times. It's like, that's fine. It's just not my type of proactivity. I play a much wider proactive game, whereas she plays a drill right through your team sort of pro action. and getting around to playing reaction or be reactively proactive is kind of always been a thing I've liked to do. I've always been okay with leading the attack and then throwing in the counter attack, the counter punch. You know, I kind of have a boxer mentality to that. It's like throw the jabs, counter attack the counter punch. You know, or that sort of situation. Jab's gonna come, parry, counter attack. That was one of the tenets that my Muay Thai teacher was teaching me, because I learned boxing through Muay Thai. And a lot of it was patience, counterattack, parry, blocks, know the position, and get around that. I didn't spend a lot of time in Muay Thai, but it did, like, strategically, this is one of the things that my coach would always stress, it's be ready to punish, because it's all, as a wrestler, submission wrestler guy, it's another thing I was taught. It's like, hey, let them use their weight. As a wrestler when I was young, it was always use their weight against them, that sort of situation. But at the same time, be on the attack, force them to overbook or overextend. Anyway, David C. in the Discord, who wants to know, now that I'm not the Kurt Hawkins of Metaplay, I've spent a little bit more time as Kurt Hawkins. I've spent years as Kurt Hawkins, I can tell you that. Which wrestler should become my new model? One win in the big leagues ever puts me around the blue meanie. Okay, well, let's go wrestling. There was a time where I would say Dwayne Gill, who would only get wins because, during the Gilbert joke, he definitely got a couple wins, but they were usually at the, with the Blue World Order jumping in. I remember that. I'm just thinking around the now, like, who have I been watching and hasn't been winning a lot, but does occasionally score the big win? Like Kurt Hawkins has that. Kurt Hawkins, Zack Ryder were in the same book as that, which is criminal when you think about all that awesome stuff that Zack Ryder had done with the with his internet persona and whatnot. So. The Brooklyn Brawler, maybe, because he had that one win against Triple H. Granted, it was a lot of run-ins on that, but that I think is possibly, we'll go with the Brooklyn Brawler. He had that one win against somebody. I think it was Triple H, but it might not be. That kind of came out of nowhere, and I think that's something. What happened with my monetization? Why is there a big yellow thing on that? When it comes down to it, I just came off of a weekend of wrestling. And AEW had their event this week, which was really cool. Chris Jericho won. Spoiler alert. Sorry, not sorry. And it was just a grand old time. I feel like if I hadn't watched the post show of AEW All Out, I'd swear that the Young Bucks were dead. Just because that ladder match was insane. I think it was Matt Jackson took the Lucha Brothers finisher on a ladder. And Nick took like a nasty spill onto a ladder, and Heath Slater. Yeah, Heath Slater. Do you have kids? You can't be Heath Slater if you don't got kids, Dave. That's an important thing. He's got the shirt. I got kids. Now, granted, that number of kids keeps going up and up every time he talks about it, but anyway. So yeah, AEW was fun. That's why I'm cracking the Alpha Club shirt. Chris Jericho. Woot. Going back to, planning on things. It's there's something very unique about this year in Worlds that it doesn't usually come up when it comes to Worlds, and it's the fact that we've been in this place where Worlds is usually itself the biggest version of the metagame, but now it's a post-rotation. Well, sorry, that's a lie. It's always been kind of the biggest version of the metagame. I'm talking out of my butt. It's always been that end of the year version of the modern game. Hey, Mike, I'm just gonna finish this thought. So but what ended up happening is we're in another rotation with like a huge number of sets. I think I talked about it on the Metal Lab. It's like 18 sets that I have to sift through. So I've been using all sorts of attempts to come up with ideas, and the problem is that like I feel like I'm getting narrowly focused on some figures and whatnot, and I don't think I'm finding the right new things. But that said, Mike, how you doing? Welcome to the show.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for waiting patiently for my arrival. I do appreciate that.
Amber didn't wait patiently. She had to go, but she was angry about a D100 argument we had. So.
Oh no.
She's kayfabe angry, joking angry.
Alrighty, so I guess this is September, and we're going, or well, at least some of us are going back to school. And the first couple questions that the first couple questions that I came up with here, of course, you know, I come prepared. So can you think of any other fictional school in the comic book universe other than the Charles Xavier / Jean Grey, School for Higher Learning? Like
there's Emma Frost School. I can't remember what it was called, but the one she taught the Hellions in. But that's still X-Men, so I feel like that's cheating. Just comic books, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean,
there's always like Hogwarts. If you guys expand it to like all of fiction, there's Hogwarts and stuff like that.
Well, if you get expanded all of fiction, it gets ridiculous. If we stick to comics, there's the Umbrella Academy itself, even though it was a super private school.
Mm-hmm.
That was a super private school. There's Batman School of Hard Knocks if you're an orphan.
True.
I'm totally Fawcett City High. No, that's. I mean, do we have to train the superheroes, or do they have to be a school in comics, just in general?
Yeah, I was thinking more along the training and stuff like that.
Okay. Well, in that case, then I will strike Fawcett City High. That's more of a school of hard knocks as well. Wildcats Gym from the JSA. That's how he taught half the JSA to fight. Nathaniel in the Discord mentioned Sky High. Sure. Tim Hallen's probably teaching them all how to be Coke mules. Those are the ones, like, a lot of those are stretches, but Umbrella Academy was definitely the first one that came to my head, even though, like, again, it's a super private school for specific rich kids, and of course, I can never remember the name that Emma Frost uses for the school that she taught the Hellions in. I'm gonna Google it because I want to find out what the name is. Emma Frost's school, Frost International. Weak. What else was there? Did Banshee have a school? I thought he just taught the Generation X guys in Xavier's school. Might be wrong. Okay, well, Riverdale doesn't teach superheroes, Nathaniel. Well, okay, I don't know. Now that I think about it, Archie did survive an attack by the Punisher. It's canon. Somewhat. No, it happened in a comic. There's that. Where was it that Deathstroke Hive, I guess you would call it, where he trained all of his assassins? There's that. Yeah, that's all I can name off the top of my head. I'm bad. I don't think there's any of those I would actually want to go to attend school with, except for the Umbrella Academy. I mean, yeah, I have an abusive father who beats the crap out of me, but then I'd be part of a rich family. And I'd get to hang out with a talking monkey. And I'd have a robot mom.
Yeah, there we go. There's the silver lining right there.
Yeah. All right. What's next, sir?
Alrighty, so yeah, as I was reading in the Discord and stuff like that, coming up with ideas. All right, so which team would be better, or okay, because as I'm looking at the Discord, I was gonna, oh man, I can make this really cool meme out of this in the later on tonight. Which one do you think is gaining more traction and getting better? A swarm team like the Borg, or a Pog generating team with like the monster and the Carnage?
I'm gonna counter ask a question before I answer this. Do I have to start ignoring the Vulture's existence again?
Okay. Yeah, do that. Yeah, do that.
They're making more tools that make bystanders when it comes down to it. Like the Borg is cool. The Borg is the Borg, and it works for what it is. But they seem to make, well, okay. I say that, and then Friends of Humanity showed up, so I should shut my mouth. Because there's a leadership effect on a lot of these Sentinel keyword guys that make Friends of Humanity characters. And then once you get 3 Friends of Humanities, if you have name is Bolivar Trask, you start making Sentinels, which is ridiculous. If you actually start to put thought in that, it's like, okay, so we have 3 Friends of Humanity. Now here's some Sentinels. What's going on? Here's some more Sentinels and some more Friends of Humanity. I'm definitely planning on heavily investing in a lot of those, because that's going to be another team. Sentinel and okay, I'm gonna spill the beans now. Sentinel and Robot, I'm looking at the future of, and part of it is those Danger Room robots. They're really cool, and there's a lot of neat stuff you can pull off with them. So Sentinel will be my version of a swarm team, where I just kind of just make dudes and see what happens. I'm probably going to give up thousands of points, or I might actually lose a couple games at 400-point losses with them. But I'm going to have so much fun trying to kill the muties. Screaming down with muties. I should probably like propaganda and like wear the Friends of Humanity armbands and get kicked out of every comic book store that I play HeroClix in. I won't do that. I'm never going to do that. But at the same time, there's a lot going on with the Sentinel keyword with that specifically. And there's already a bunch of really good Sentinels that I think there's some real potential in Friends of Humanity Sentinel theme team, to say the least. And the Friends of Humanity are so good. They can carry your dudes and whatnot. Yeah, I like them. I like Sentinel and the Friends of Humanity in general. So I'm gonna say that while bystanders are looking good, as you know, they're not gonna stop being good. We're gonna see an influx of character making, like full blown character making, that I really want to see thrive and survive, as it were. Like I would like to see more sets than just X-Men Animated come up with the Sentinel Friends of Humanity interaction sort of thing. You know, Master Mold's got to be around the corner in somebody's head. So, we've had the Master Mold in the past, and he's done something similar, but do it again. Whatever. I'd be happy with it. That said, bystander makers are getting a little bit more reined in. We have Isaac. Isaac does make good bystanders, but Isaac is a trash figure. And that seems to be the new thing, where it's like, okay, if this guy makes bystanders, but he's a good figure, he makes a trash bystander to do a specific thing. Whereas somebody like Isaac is a not so great... I mean, okay, I say trash figure, but if you look, he's not a super offensive, super strong figure. He's a support figure who makes offensive characters. So what you'll see is things like where we had the Devil Dinosaur, where we had small damage but super offensive Pogs with a dude who could fight. So it was kind of a double whammy. It's like two things that could fight be coming out of the same source. You kind of move to like Stegron, where it's like Stegron can kind of fight. One of his dinosaurs can kind of fight. The rest kind of grab. And I think that's kind of the direct... And I'm not saying it's a bad direction. I kind of like this direction. You kind of know, all right, if I'm making a bystander theme or bystander focused sort of team in the future, I do have to understand that if I want strong bystanders coming out of them, they're going to be kind of a meh character. There's exceptions. There's still the Iron Man, Earth X Iron Man, but the Earth X Iron Man comes at a cost, where it's like, I'm a strong dude, I make strong bystanders. But if those bystanders die, I'm going to start taking some damage. So there's a future of payoffs coming with it, I think, and I like this feature. I'm not gonna lie, I love this game, and I love the way it's going, and I love the decisions they're making because I am always that guy where it's like, yeah, okay, that's cool. I started with a 6-figure team, and now it's a 16-figure team. that will forever be Jason. You cannot beat that out of me. I will not. Can't stop, won't stop. So, if I was to, sorry, I don't think I directly answered the question just yet. I think the future looks stronger for the Make-A-Dudes. Not necessarily the Borg, but a version of Make-A-Dudes does look kind of bright. But I do believe Bystander still has more solid tools. And part of that is that it doesn't force an additional purchase. And here comes that reality kicks in. It's like they don't force a lot of things like the Friends of Humanity creation or the Suited Henchman creation dudes, because as a player I get stuck buying Suited Henchmen, more Suited Henchmen, more Suited Henchmen, more Friends of Humanity, more Friends of Humanity. Do you know how many of these Sentinels I'm going to be having to buy because I'm an idiot? Okay, sorry, I'm not an idiot, I'm a psychopath. There's a difference. One of them is going to need to buy a bunch of Sentinels and Friends of Humanity. And the other one doesn't know how to play HeroClix. So just kidding. People who know how to play HeroClix aren't idiots. But yeah, so Bystander will be forever super useful. Make-A-Dudes will be rare and few and far between. But it looks like they have some really cool stuff coming around the corner. I'm done over answering.
Alrighty, so do you think martial arts or assassin character teams would work in the meta at some point like that? I kind of want to build a team around the Red Hood from the recent set, Reborn set, but I'm kind of thinking of maybe some other assassins together or something like that. But is it like, would that turn out to be a weaker team, or how would I kind of make that work?
All right, so give me a second to kind of put my thought together on this one. The design flow of characters works in a way. And right now we're being dominated by cosmic characters, because cosmic characters, design-wise, are fat dialed or tough dialed, impossible to outwit because they're cosmic entities, and just generally super potent in what they do. And that's design. Mystical guys are always very tricksy, but very squishy. They fall under the glass cannon support sort of thing. I'm getting to martial arts and assassin in a second. Monsters are big, broody, tough dudes that sometimes they get some cool tools, other times they don't. Brute is just mindless dudes who are going to come in there and punch you. Probably has the highest proliferation of battle fury. So we get to martial arts and assassins, who are both basically the same thing, but different in a different sort of way. Martial artists get up close and hit you a lot, or are very hard to hit when in close combat. Assassins are the same way, except where you say close combat for a martial artist, you flip that to the word range in most cases. Both of which are very high in stealth, both of which are very good at ignoring hindering for movement, both very mobile in what they do. But even though they are often hard to get a hold of, when you do get a hold of them, they kind of break. They're like a pop can, or a pop can covered in soap in a shower. It's like, got it, and it's done for. I happen to have a pop can handy, and it worked. As the metaphor. So when you say, is it going to work in the current state of the game? it's going to work if you play it in a specific way and you play in an environment that allows for it. So I'm not going to tell you to go to Worlds with a martial artist theme team and expect to win. You might throw some people off guard. That's going to be a given. And you might catch the butter, or you might catch the pea out of the guy's hand. But I don't think you're going to go out there and dominate. That said, in your local venue, depending on how your local venue plays, if the guys at your local venue are going to see what happens at Worlds, I think it'd be like, I like that team. I'm going to play that team every week. I got bad news for you. But if that it looks like we're back, hopefully OBS will survive now. Are we good? Are we good, OBS? OBS? Okay, cool. Sorry about that. But where I was going with this is, I'm just actually kind of pulling up HC ROMs right now and getting them martial artists that are in. Are you looking for modern or golden age?
Mostly modern age. You know.
Okay. Because I know there's been a decline in the number of martial artists lately because so many sets have been space focused. Mystical has also taken a bit of a hit. Like, Mystical's got some good stuff. Always has good stuff at all times because, like I said, Mystical, when it's made, is tricksy. But much like martial artists, you get a hold of it. And if you can get past the sea of perplexes and probability controls, which is your smoke and mirrors, you start to find out that Mysterio is, just a one-punch wonder. I use Mysterio even though he's not mystical. It's the comic reference. It's like Spider-Man gets past all the illusions. Oh, who's Mysterio? He's a puddle. And I've been talking my way through it, and I went completely past martial artists keyword in the keyword list here. Because I also haven't... Martial artist is one of those ones I always look at because I like my karate books as well as my magical poofy poof stuff. And my big green man who fights. We can never, of course, ignore the Ninja Turtle stuff. It's always there. And it's ever present until we no longer have Unplugged. So, of course, Shredder exists. The current iteration of Shredder that is modern legal, of course, not the Chase Shredder, but rather the coin-op Shredder or the other one. They're pretty good. They're pretty okay, dudes. You have Sulu, shirtless Sulu specifically. Oh, my. The ability to free attack after being carried is amazing. There's so much value in that. But, of course, martial artists lacks in a little bit of the way to carry or additional mobility, as it were. There's not a lot of martial artists that have TK, right? And there's also not a lot of martial artists that carry dudes, because that's not really a martial artist thing when you think about it. There are going to be a few every so often, like Fancy Dan, who's got the Underworld team ability. Or, there'll be a few of them that have the Underworld team ability, which allows them to carry characters that share keyword. There's Deathstroke is ever present in it, so good dude to build around. And it's just right now, martial arts is in that place where it's not as useful as there was an era around Web of Spider-Man and Captain America where both those sets were legal together, and you had a Bullseye who ignored the map for Line of Fire and a Captain America who avoided the map for Line of Fire. And just as a result, it was two guys just absolutely able to not care. And they were range focused as a result. And it was a weird time to be a Hero Clix player. It's like, hold on. Martial artist is long range right now? What? So, but right now it's in that place where it's like mostly close combat focused, mostly stealth focused. There's Iron Fists, but one of them's a spider and one of them's a caveman. And they're being carried by a man in a suit with a hat. Fancy Dan. So, I guess the long and the short of it is, there's tools that you can use, but it's not going to be... I don't expect it to beat, like, collector astronomer teams, that kind of situation. So, build with expectations. And go around that. And know your local meta when you're going to be building alongside that. Or, if you have a friend at a kitchen table, kind of discussed beforehand is like, okay, you choose a keyword, I'm going to choose a keyword. We're going to say it at the same time, and then we're going to build teams around that. Or, you just one person picks a keyword for both of you and be fair about it, because home games you always want to be fair about it. Tournament play, no, we're not trying to be fair. We're trying to win. Once again, in the world of over-answering, I've over-answered. And I probably scared the crap out of you. It's like, oh, I don't want to ever build a martial arts team. That's a bad idea. Build it with expectation. And use that Prime Black Widow. Oh, my God.
All right, another keyword that I'm thinking about coming up here in the future, I guess that new X-Men set with the animated series is going to have a lot of the the guys in the
Acolytes?
No, not the guys with the powdered wigs.
Oh, the Hellfire Club.
Oh yeah, Hellfire Club. Yeah, that's what I couldn't think of. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm kind of anticipating seeing a number of them, and they're probably going to have a number of. I know the Hellfire Club in the past has had Mastermind and things like that. Is Mastermind kind of, I guess, because you said a lot of cosmic and stuff like that is in the meta right now. Is Mastermind kind of falling back from that, or will we see a resurgence from that, or is it? Yeah, like where do you see Mastermind falling in the current meta?
Mastermind nowadays is significantly more of a powerful power than it was, say, I'd say 2 years ago, back when Precision Strike used to blow through Mastermind. Mastermind was a trash power in the years that Precision Strike was overpowered. Nowadays, Mastermind is a power that is actually super potent, so long as you can get your way around Outwit. Now, here comes the problem. The Hellfire Club doesn't Mastermind as much as they used to. They now Outwit and subterfuge and get around things. There are some that have, I think there is one or two of them that will have Mastermind. So, with that, I don't foresee them on their own dethroning anything necessarily, but there are pieces that they can squeeze in to teams, or just kind of work on their own and build a team around it. I went to the wrong place on HC Realms. I'm just kind of re-looking at them, because I know Sebastian Shaw functionally worked as, I'm going to get bigger as you do more damage to me, which is generally how Mr. Shaw works. Donald Pierce makes robots and does a ton of damage, because that's what Donald Pierce does. Mastermind, who is Jason Wingard, rather. So his name is Mastermind, and he does use Mastermind to a certain degree, because I think he can actually pass damage off to somebody he's recently mind controlled or something like that. Jason Wingard, his protected Outwit and leadership. Okay, so that's another thing. Is a lot of them have protected Outwit with the ability to use Outwit. He's got a special defense power that gives him Mastermind in the late die. It doesn't start with it. So, and that's the thing. It's like a lot of these guys don't actually have the work very same. There's Emma Frost, who does have it. So there's two guys out of them. But out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chases I think there's only the 5 chases in the set. But of the 5 chases we've seen, only 2 of them have Mastermind. So I don't think that's really the power they're bringing to the table. The power that they're bringing to the table is kind of a mixture of things. It's a lot of disruption and a lot of non-offensive effectiveness, as it were. Emma Frost mind controls a bunch of dudes at a distance. Same with Jason Wingard. Where Sebastian Shaw, like I said, takes a beating, what he's how big now? Is generally how he works, and then all of a sudden he does extra things on top of that, depending on the amount of beatings that you've handed to him. What is it? Donald Pierce is a tough dude who can take it, and then all of a sudden comes back to life because he's a robot. Beep boop. I don't think I'm really going to add him to my robot repertoire necessarily, but I might be wrong. And he's also got some mild pick power with special or choosing attack powers. I mean, I've been playing with random in a couple games, and I can choose poison at the right time, pulse wave at the right time. Okay, that's kind of cool, but he doesn't come with the power set that necessarily works with it until like late game. But of course, that also works in conjunction with Outwit that he has. So these guys actually bring traded Outwit for the most part, or protected Outwit, which is problematic against Cosmic Dudes because guess what? Most Cosmic Dudes have Power Cosmic, which would be great to get rid of. Now, there's tools that I'm not going to say, oh my God, the sky is falling on that, because we have both Protector and the Ultra Chase Thanos, who are capable of saying no protected Outwit for you, right? So, but then you're starting to get into the area where you're breaking themes and stuff like that. Long and the short of it, on their own, they're not going to dethrone anything, but they bring tool sets that work in their own little realm of reality. And Harry Leland, I think, is probably one of the most obnoxious things you've ever seen in this where I've been complaining about there being a reactive sort of metagame. You throw Harry Leland in the mix, you really screw up a lot of reactions that your opponent can possibly have against you, because one of the big reactions they have is Colossal Retaliation. Well, if you can't get within 4 squares of my dudes, in a lot of cases, with the exception of I'm going to say the Tri-Sentinel or any other range-focused Colossal Retaliators like Starro, there's some guy who's going to be like, yeah, Starro's got a range one? Cool. If you look at those range-focused ones, Harry Leland's really not going to mess with them as much as he would mess with, say, one that's a little bit more close combat focused, where he could pop you, keep you more than 4 squares away. Positioning is going to be key when you're using Harry Leland, that's for sure. But at the same time, if he's keeping you outside of your ability to make a close combat attack, you can't retaliate. So there's that one team that somebody's thinking of right now, and I know who you are. Jason, knock it off. All right, I babbled.
Alrighty, so yeah, and then I guess if you put on some, because the Skull and I guess the Green Goblin, or Earth-X from Green Goblin, they both have Mastermind as well. Can you Mastermind onto a stop click, or say that everybody doesn't like that Wolverine from Regenesis like that? I guess you can park him right next to a thing. Would you have to take the stop click and then heal up and stuff like that? And that's pretty much protecting the guy.
My pack's in the kitchen, but my understanding of Mastermind is that you attack me, you hit me, I pass the attack to this guy, so it is still damage from an attack, resulting in anything counting towards an attack triggering. So because you're doing damage from an attack that's been passed from Mastermind, it's still attack damage, and I might be wrong on this, I'm going to double check, that would trigger the stop click still. I'm going to pull up because HeroClix.com has your rules and stuff as well, so I don't actually have to go into my backpack and grab my pack for that. Gameplay rules, and we grab the pack. Powers and Abilities card 2018. I don't want the Spanish translation again. I did that to myself the other day, and I was like, I don't understand this. Mastermind. When this character would be hit by an opponent's attack that deals damage, you may choose an adjacent friendly character that wouldn't be hit by the attack, and that is less points or shares a keyword. That friendly character instead becomes a hit target of the attack, even if it is already a target or would become an illegal target. So the character that the attack is masterminded to becomes the hit target of the attack, resulting in them instead being attacked. As a result, that yes, it would trigger a stop click. If I masterminded damage to my Wolverine and you hit stop, I laugh at you because he's healing next turn, assuming I built that kind of team.
don't think I had to over answer for that.
Alrighty, so moving down the list, yeah, you mentioned Tri-Sentinel. I recently picked up this little gem there, and I was wondering if what point value is he most playable at?
Is that a trick question? Because 30 is the obvious answer. Joking aside and sarcasm aside, 30 points is obviously the one that fits into the most teams because you just gotta go and he squeezes in. That's the answer that says, okay, my Tri-Sentinel isn't my main attacker. But you also have to point out is as a 30-point quote-unquote Colossal Retaliator, he still has the effects such as being able to move through and break blocking and deal damage to anybody who is adjacent to said blocking, resulting in free damage that isn't yet part of your Colossal Retaliation. Then you can throw in the Colossal Retaliation as a bonus gift from him. And that does even further damage beyond extra damage that he might break. I think he breaks blocking when he makes his Colossal Retaliation too, which is huge. So, as a Colossal Retaliator, the value you get for 30 points is pretty astronomical. But of course, the target he gets on his head is also pretty astronomical. I'm not going to lie about that. But the other thing too is 100 points, that special movement power with sidestep plasticity on a dude with 9 range, 3 targets, and 4 damage is not ideal. So we move up to the experience version. He seems to start with that special power on everything, and that's kind of, it's lumbery, it's slow, and it's not ideal. But at the same time, he comes traded with Energy Shield. So I might be full of crap. So if I really want to put it down to it, obviously if you want to play 550 points, he's 550 points. Playing at that point level, go for it. I should have looked at those point values. As a one-man army for a 300-point team, I wouldn't suggest it. Just here's the thing about a 300-point character as your 300-point team. If he doesn't have multiple ways of attacking, he's hard to justify. Or ways of healing. In this case, he doesn't really have a way of healing, so you don't really get to where you want all the time. So the 100-point version is kind of like a souped-up version of the 30-point version, but the 30-point version is still okay, and still really good. It's just a shame he doesn't have something along the lines of like running shot or charge or something like along those lines. It's a shame because at those point values you really want some degree of move and attack coming from him. So truth told, I don't foresee myself ever using him beyond the 30-point line unless it's kitchen table day and I'm building my Sentinel theme team and the Friends of Humanity have invested in a Tri-Sentinel or Bolivar Trask put it together.
Alrighty, so is all right, so in a Golden Age game, would adding Proteus to any of the regen pieces be even worth it? I guess it's always great to have the +1 to all the stats, but
that Proteus. Regenesis with that Proteus. Let me give it a good look. I remember using that Proteus, and people looking at me like I was out of my mind. But I use him on a Superman. Okay, so we got Wolverine. You can't put him on the 120-point version of Wolverine. That's a shame. So you'd have to put it on the 70-point version. But at the same time, you 70 points, you find yourself on that stop click. Heal, free action, not bad. As long as you don't damage yourself past it. Same kind of with Cyclops. It's like it's tempting, but because of the timing, if they damage me, put me on my stop click, and I don't get that heal off of the stop click, or he takes the damage before I get a chance to do that heal. Oh, it's a shame. It's a real damn shame. So
the trick with Proteus is always you want a guy who's kind of tough and can take it and can either heal on his own or has a source of healing that's pretty freaking reliable. When I did it with my Superman, it was ultimately shifting focus Superman with Mr. Mxyzptlk and Clarion with the Indigo battery. So everybody had support. So I would end up like attacking with my Superman after popping off with a 19 defense click, and then just heal him if he's taking Proteus damage. Because back then, support didn't care about what your defense value was with bonuses. It cared about your printed defense. Or you could use defend. So, again, carrying on, Namor is probably really good. A really good call, especially with like another X-Man on your team. Because he's 100 points with full movement, charge, and flurry. Add +1 to that dial. And tell me it doesn't make you go a little, just like how potent that is. That's a 12 attack, 4 damage flurry coming across the board 10 squares away. 1 TK, you basically have the board covered. Like, that's insanity at its finest, and I love it. So, yeah, that Namor, probably a good call. Especially with another cheaper X-Men, because the X-Men team ability is basically free healing. So I'll take it back. The Wolverine and Cyclops, they work if you can stay, if you can not get knocked off of that stop click, because lo and behold, you got me to the stop click. As long as you have other X-Men dudes, you use that X-Men team ability, heal them back up to that stop click, take another heal with that stop click, you're good. Actually, I think Wolverine's heal is traded, now that I'm really fucking talking about it. Excuse my language. Now that I'm talking about it, like I'm going nuts about it, it's like, wait a second, isn't his... So yeah, if you have Wolverine on a Jean Grey School, okay, take it all back. Jean Grey School of Higher Learning, Wolverine, traded healing, go for it. All right, cool. Subsequently, Namor. Let's go back to that. 100 points for that guy. And then what's his? He has a special thing if he's a Utopia team, or does he even give a crap? Beginning of the game, it replaces with the 0-1. So what's the, oh, okay. So you have to be a Utopia team to get your full movement charge regardless of things. So I think those are your top 2 guys for Regenesis targets with Proteus. Just because Namor's got such a fat dial that he can get around the damage and a simple X-Men team also. And the payoff is just beautiful. Like a 12 attack flurry 4 damage is just mwah. It's tasty. And the Wolverine just heals past it. He whatever. What was that noise to this kid inside me? I don't care. Shut up, kid. Shut up, you whiny blob. So, I think those would be my top 2 for Regenesis. That is what you meant, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
That's what I meant.
Cool.
Yep. Alrighty. Let's see. So I guess you've probably had enough play with the different new sets, like Star Trek, the X-Men Regen, and you've made some awesome videos with the opening of the animated series boxes. This is going to be sort of like a lightning round type of thing. What is your favorite piece in the Star Trek set, the X-Men Regenesis, and the X-Men animated series?
Okay, Star Trek is definitely Geordi LaForge. That was a hard one to just say, flat out. He was definitely my favorite. I like him, but he is limited by distance. Just for pure I like Geordi. For X-Men Regenesis, my favorite is Beast. Just so potent, so strong, so potent, so good. Love everything about him. He's either outwitting or he's battle furying, doing a ton of damage. There's no bad side to Beast. X-Men animated series. Do I have to pick one? If I'm being forced, gun to my head, pick one, the Blob. It is so hard for me not to build teams with the Blob on my team. Oh my god, he's so fun to build with. Especially, the thing about the Blob, and what's beautiful about the Blob, is you can get him into a position. Your opponent is going to be attacking him, but you're not going to move the Blob. you're going to attack with the blob, and you're just going to watch him go, it's cute. And you're going to collect the ability tokens. And if you get a leadership next to him, you heal if you heal 1 click of damage with a leadership next to him by taking a token off of him, you should just look at your opponents go. Or if he gets a 10 or higher with the Brotherhood team ability, because of timing, because the Brotherhood triggers after actions resolve, immediately after actions resolve is the token. So you take the token first, then you resolve the other part, you take that token off, and you heal. So guess what? That's 2 ways that Blob can just heal on his own. And that, just imagine, you can deal Blob 1 damage at a time. So every heal that Blob gets takes an attack away. I love that guy. I would love Exodus more if I could roll a leadership for the life of me. Because I've pulled it off once where Exodus, and I've rolled, I think, about 17 different leadership rolls with Exodus, and I've made 2 of them successfully. And one of them was a +1 to all of his stats, and the other one was a +3 to all his stats. And when you say my Exodus is attacking with a 14 attack is going to deal 7 damage, your opponent just goes, huh? It's a feel-good moment for you and a feel-bad moment for them, for sure. It's just a shame I shot at a Juggernaut who had Invincible at the time. 3 damage is 3 damage, kids. So yeah, of those 3 sets, my favorites are definitely Jordy LaForge, Beast, and Blob. I'm a weirdo, eh? I thought about that all of a sudden. I was like, really?
Alrighty, so we're getting down to the someone here at the end. I think we're used up a lot of the questions here. Alrighty, so now should I buy a brick of the X-Men animated series? Given I guess this is of course annotated with I did buy a brick of the I guess the other Marvel set. They had a lot of things there, but then I started getting some duplicate large pieces and stuff like that, and then it's going to be a little bit more than a usual standard brick and stuff like that. Is it? Of course, I'm going to buy the animated series and stuff like that, and there's probably going to be a pre-release party here locally. And that said, should I bother getting a whole brick to it?
Yeah. Okay. I am not a consumer advice channel. We are not a consumer advice channel. So we have to be careful when we tell people how to invest their money in this game. And I got to say it this way. The X-Men animated series as a set is really good for players who play HeroClix competitively. Really good set for people who like X-Men the animated series. And a really good set for people who like HeroClix. It's probably one of the best fun sets we've had the pleasure of opening. And we've opened a lot at this point. I have not had so much fun playing and replaying again a lot of some of the same stuff over and over again. And that's kind of cool. They really hit a sweet spot with this set that balances fun and competition and just general interest level. And I think that's going to make this stuff fly off of the shelves. That said, if your interest, budget, and expectations are metered, you should be getting a brick. Because if you're a competitive player, there's going to be enough. A brick is always a good starting point. There's a little bit of a random level to it. You can't trust that you're going to get the figure you want. And if that's your expectation, you need to go out and buy singles. But you're going to get a good collection of figures. And because this new Pauper format is becoming states, you're going to need a good base of commons and uncommons to get, and a brick is a good way to start that. Furthermore, I think a brick is a safe bet because the chases, though cool, aren't the high point of the set. The high point of the set is the set. The set itself is just good. Everything in the set is super awesome. I don't see a figure where I'm like, when I look at it. You know, even Scanner doesn't seem that interesting until you pop her astral token. You start exploit weaknessing or mind controlling people, or you know, you have her for prob as well. You know, and that's like that would be like the lowest form character. You also have the assassins who are stealthy and just 15 points of really good. You have the Friends of Humanity, which are 5-point dudes that do some cool stuff for 5 points. So that said, I cannot, as a human being, say you must buy this set or you are dumb. But if you are a HeroClix player who likes X-Men the Animated Series, or interested in casual, or just interested in the game in general, yeah, I'd advise getting a brick of the set. It's really cool. It's an awesome set. I love it. And if the set appeals to you, get it. But you, Mike, definitely get a brick. Please. And send me all your extra Sentinels. Just the low point ones. Just the 25/33 ones. I don't want any of the other ones. I can get those on my own. It's the ones that I'm going to have to amount. And I'm of course kidding. You don't have to send me your Sentinels. But I will arrange for financial coverage for them if you so chose.
Alrighty, thank you for entertaining that. All right, last two, I guess. All right, have you heard what the third month Regenesis prizes are? Like, normal, like my judges kind of gave us a hint as to what the second month was. Like, and I haven't really heard much about what they're going to do for the third month. Is that going to be just like no prizes, or just like the overall leaderboard prize gets the prize, or is that or is it going to be like a participation limited edition one in there as well?
Is a specific prize for the third month, and as well as the final prizing Wolverine and Cyclops. So the final prizing Wolverine and Cyclops are the Caveman Wolverine and the Caveman Cyclops. But the prize for the month is actually Archangel and Magneto. And they're given out in the same way, where it's just like the winner of the Wolverine side, I think, gets the Archangel, and the winner of the Cyclops side gets the Magneto. So, and then after that, whoever is the overall winner on each side gets either the Wolverine or the Cyclops.
Alrighty, thank you for entertaining that one as well. Now here comes the big one. Here, I was saving this one for the last one. This is going to be amazing here. So like I hype this last question. I'm going to hype it up as much as I can. So, all right, I'm building a Golden Age team, and I pulled together a Mighty Avenger Thor. Just, the list, the name listed as the Mighty Avenger. Morph from this new X-Men animated series set, a Lone Ranger from the Lone Ranger movie, and equip him with the Power Gem. Okay. Do we finally have the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers in HeroClix? Okay, I'll give you a minute to.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's been our Patron Hangout for the week. And I appreciate that, though. I do appreciate that one. You took me on it. You took me on a trip, and I got there, and I was like, well, here I am. We have Mighty Morphin Power Rangers in HeroClix. In a dad joke, which I can only appreciate as a father myself. So, thank you very much for that, Mike. Oh God, is that the last one, actually, Mike? Or
yeah, according to my page here, yeah, I think we covered everything here.
Awesome. On that, I'm gonna let that one linger. Just gonna leave that one to stew in the room like a fart. On that note,
Somebody has to got to try it somehow.
do it. You know what? You have to do it. You got to take a picture and just leave it and see if anybody notices. All right. I want to thank you, Mike, and our patrons over on Discord for keeping this show alive. If you want to join us at patreon.com/Clix, check it out. If you are a $10 subscriber, your patron tokens are in the mail. I apologize for the lateness on the last 2 patron tokens. We had some of our own issues going with shipping. That aside, check us out again. Any valuation gets you access to this Hangout as well as our patron Discord. And of course, the Discord is a place where you can ask the questions. You don't have to come on the camera like Mike does. He's a wonderful person for doing it. But you can join the Discord and ask questions from there. We have a channel specifically set aside for it. Or on these, you can also send us super chats. These are for those who financially aid us, as it were. Me and myself and Amber will be in Memphis, Tennessee at HeroClix World Championships between Thursday and Monday. So stop by, say hello. Handshakes, whatever. Just make sure we're not in the middle of a game or not if we're in an intense game, just kind of wait till the game's over. Or, if you see us online, give us a high five. If you see if it's a battle royale, make fun of me because I'm probably losing. And we'll be up and about for that. So check out the channel in the meantime. And thank you again, Mike. Thank you for all of our other patrons for all the support. It's been wonderful so far. And we look forward to seeing anybody we see over in Memphis, Tennessee, over in Graceland. In Memphis, Tennessee, we're going to Graceland. So have a wonderful evening, everybody.